for damaging winds and large hailstones. Severe thunderstorms are likely to produce damaging winds over the next several hours. Locations which may be affected include Armidale, Glen Innes, Inverell, Tamworth, Gunnedah, Moree, Narrabri, Mungandai and Ebor. This is ABC Local News.
Joining us on the line this afternoon is Deputy Commissioner of the Rural Fire Service, Rob Rogers. Good afternoon, Deputy Commissioner.
Good afternoon.
Clearly, there is a situation, 7 emergency warning areas and homes under threat.
Look, it's been just an awful day, an absolute awful day, and probably the most difficult fire at the moment is the one in the Blue Mountains, in the Wimberley area, Springwood. That fire has burnt very aggressively through, jumped the Nepean River, and there's a huge flank of that fire that's about to turn in the head of the fire once the southwesterly change impacts on it. And obviously we're quite concerned then about more impact on homes. We know there's been homes lost in that fire, and obviously we'll be doing our best to make sure that we don't lose any more. But apart from that, there's fires in Port Stephens that's burning very aggressively, also near Williamtown Airport. So it's burnt from the Heng Street Heatherbrae fire, and it's burnt along Cabbage Tree Road towards Williamtown Airport, and understanding it's jumped Nelson Bay Road, and we may well have lost some properties there also. Also the fire at Lithgow. That fire has burnt extremely aggressively, jumped the Bells line of road, and unfortunately we're going to have lost properties and businesses there. So it's just been an awful day. Also Wyong, reports of property lost in Wyong, Muswellbrook, fire threatening Muswellbrook. We've had fires in the Wingecarribee area, Balmoral. That has caused significant problems, and we're worrying about property loss there as well. There's been fires at Mount Victoria, up in the far north coast, at Crescent Head. Fires there. There's been fires down in Shoalhaven, and I guess the message is the danger is far from being over, and until such time as this, the winds calm down, we can actually understand exactly where fires are, and we can advise people of that. The situation remains very, very dangerous, and people should at all costs avoid entering fire-affected areas.
Deputy Commissioner, just 2 quick points to evacuations. Have they been over a large-scale area of the Blue Mountains?
There has been a lot of people that have been moved out of certainly some of those more fire-affected areas, Springwood and Wimberley. Now, a lot of those people self-evacuated into areas that were burnt previously in earlier fires, and there's been some other people relocated, particularly in those areas that have lost homes, where there's homes that have been destroyed. People have obviously decided to leave, and obviously for their own safety we've helped those people leave. Police have been obviously trying to help people as much as they can in that area, but it's been very, very dangerous for firefighters as well as police. So, as I say, the situation remains fluid, and I think it's fair to say that if we don't lose hundreds of properties today, we'll have been very lucky.
Yeah. And one last point, Deputy Commissioner, too. Into tonight, is there a hope that your winds will change? That's not necessarily a plus for you, I realise that, but will conditions ease a little?
Yes, they will. And obviously, once this change comes in, and we, I guess, get through the impact of that change in a sudden change of direction, then fire conditions will ease, and fires will certainly not burn as aggressively. The concern will be we have got so much fire now burning.
Yeah.
Look, there is no prospect of any rain until they're talking earliest would be the middle of next week, if we're lucky. So we've just got so much fire. Look, we haven't seen conditions like this for well over a decade in this state.
Yeah, and the best part of it, no lives have been lost, which is terrific news.
Well, look, there is no report of life lost, but I would express a word of caution, and that is until we forensically go through every home that has been destroyed, along with police. I wouldn't like to say there is none, but we certainly have no information that there has been. And look, and my priorities as the day has gone on has been from properties to firefighter and obviously the population all coming home safely. If we get all that, then I'll be quite happy.
Deputy Commissioner, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Deputy Commissioner Rob Rogers joining us online from the Rural Fire Service, and we'll keep you updated with all the situation around the state in just a moment too. But we better go to the weather straight away too. Once again, we've been joined by Graham Creedon. Graham, we've had a report from Greg and Thirroul who says since the wind change, now we've got some ash falling on our veranda. So he's at Thirroul. That change slowly making its way up the coast. And is it dropping the speed of the winds in any way?
Look, there's actually two wind changes. It's really quite an unusual setup. What we've got is a trough moving through. Now, that's bringing a westerly wind change. And that's also seeing temperatures just slowly dropping off. So through the afternoon, the change passed through the Illawarra around the middle to late part of the afternoon, and the temperatures only slowly started to fall back in behind it. And unfortunately, with these westerlies, they've remained very gusty. So parts of the Illawarra, Sydney, the Hunter, the Blue Mountains, all recording wind gusts still behind this change of around about 80 to 90 kilometres per hour. It's not until a southwesterly to southerly flow moves through that we will start to see these winds begin to moderate. Now, it's already showing up as moving through a lot of the central and southern inland, moving through the southern ranges and coast, and that's what's going to bring a little bit of relief. Now, a lot of reports from a lot of these smoke plumes in the Hunter, across Sydney, also the Illawarra, of ash falling. You know, even for the Blue Mountains fire, ash being reported falling at Bondi. And what we're actually seeing now is that the westerly wind changes move through. These smoke plumes are moving a little bit further north, so areas that weren't affected by them earlier this afternoon are now being affected by them. So just be aware that there is a lot of smoke around in the areas. Once that southerly moves through, then the smoke plumes will clear a little bit further north as well. But by tomorrow morning, the majority of the state, definitely where the fires are, we'll see these winds easing off. They should mostly be light, potentially moderate. There'll be strong winds on the coastal waters, but they're not expected to be maintained along the land. So a much better day tomorrow. Yep. Another warning, I suppose, for the upper Hunter, mid-north coast, also northern tablelands, northwest slopes and plains, and the upper west, severe thunderstorm warning, damaging winds, and also the potential of some large hail there as well.
Yeah, no, we're across those two. I know you're on a strapped day today with something.
Okay, so that's news and weather. So we're looking at 18 minutes to 6. And I'm showing 120 pounds per square inch of pressure in the airport firefighter, and I think I've probably got tens to hundreds of tonnes of bushfire fuel per hectare. And this is where I have whippersnipped the tussock grass and the spinifex and the kikuyu and all the other kinds of grass. I have not yet taken a brush cutter to the flax lily, but that's my next priority, because there's an awful lot of dry grass and leaves for the little bit of green that's there. I'm going to be better off laying that down flat. So we've got the sun there, and I'm looking pretty much northwest, and though, as you can see, I've cleaned up right at the hut, the boundary of the fuel bomb is pretty close. So it's going to be asking a lot of the airport firefighter to stop a firestorm coming in across the western boundary. And here we are with the wind in the clearing, still showing that it's coming from the north. Outside the clearing, it's more from the northwest, as you see when a gust comes in. And what's happening is the northwesterly has been blowing all day, and it's been pushing the fire in a sort of a southeasterly direction. As the change comes through, you suddenly get the fire leaping out at 50 miles an hour all the way along what has been the side of it, what's been fairly safe all day. So your containment lines in front of the head become useless, and anybody who thought they were sitting on the side of the bushfire is going to be shitting blue lights. I think they said an hour ago they'd lost 12 houses already, and you heard the fella say that if they only lose 100 or 200 houses in the day, they will have done well. This is the soil moisture profile gauge, an almost parallel sided rain gauge, and when it overflows, the driveway's a bog hole, and when it gets down there to nothing, then fires are just not survivable here. With 1 inch of soil moisture showing, I've still got some greenery here. And anything that's green is alive and it's wet. And my theory is that if it's wet, then as the pulse of heat comes in across it, it'll vaporise and puff out that moisture and just increase the relative humidity at the crucial moment when the peak goes through. That's my theory. Everybody has their own ideas on it, but as you can see by the vegetation, it's bloody parched. But let's go for a bit of a walk down here to the front gate, and we'll have a look out in the direction of the upwind and see if we can see any sign of these thunderstorms. Because the way I look at it, I will take dihydrogen monoxide and I'll take it as dewdrops, I'll take it as raindrops, and I'll take it as fucking hailstones. I'll even take it as snowflakes if you want to give it to me that way. I want some dihydrogen monoxide dropped onto my place. That's what I want. Well, that's the view across the sheep farm. And then you've got my western boundary fence. And the front gate and the edge effect. Now looking north, northwest, and as you can see by the trees, that's where the wind's coming from. I'm not seeing any sign of much thunderstorms out that way, but as we come down towards the west, yeah, you can see a few clouds. Well, 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 3 holes in the ground. Up there behind me is the driveway. I'm now looking south, so you're looking north. Over there we've got west, and you can see the few little clouds. But have a look at what there is to the southwest and the south. Them buggers with their weather radar at Moree, they know what they're talking about, don't they? Isn't that a lovely bunch of clouds? Yeah, sure, it's blue and it's black and it's probably got ice in it, and it's probably got some destructive winds. But here's what we do about that. We say, pretty please Creator, don't bust me roofs, don't bust me fences, don't bust me water storage or me power storage. Please don't kill me with a tree. Pretty please don't punch holes in anything that I own with your hailstones either. But I would like some rain. And I don't see that as a necessarily terrible, dangerous thing. I see that as a response to a rain dance. And if I wind up with a strong wind and a frightening hailstorm while everybody else is worried about getting cooked, then I reckon I've got out of it fucking lightly. And I gotta say, all this extreme weather, simultaneously opposite diametrical extreme weather, like hailstones during your firestorm, it is a direct result of people who voted against the Greens at the last 5 elections. The reason Australia is cooking and burning now is because of Tony Abbott's climate science denialism from the coal and oil and gas fossil fuel lobby influenced policy end of the spectrum. And with Rupert Murdoch's phone news, 93% of Australia was convinced to vote to do fucking nothing about global warming. Well, the change is in the pipeline, dumb fucks. You fucking asked for it, you're getting it. Meanwhile, here I am, poor little fucking Greenie, been doing his best for, like half me life, to try not to make anything worse, because it's obvious humanity's a pox on the planet. And you guys have got me shitting blue lights, living on a fuel bomb, because of what you've done to the fucking atmosphere while I was trying not to make a mess. Well, it's going to be an interesting 24 hours, isn't it? Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Vote green or die. I wasn't fucking joking when I put up that movie. Ciao.